I think you all know I love selling. I've seen the value in selling, right? I've seen the value in putting together what's truly a sales process. I've seen the value in making sure the positions in your company that need the people with the best selling skills and attributes are in the right place, right? And what I mean by value is I've seen greater patient success with it, right? And you all know if you've been here, right? You got to have patient success if you want business success. So I'm really excited about this series and let's get right into this. I think what we'll do today is set the foundation and I'll do this pretty quickly, okay? So what we have is the flow of a business: marketing, sales, retention, referral. That overlays your patient life cycle. That's your patient's journey within your business, all the touch points, right? That overlays that. Now, when we overlay that, we then start to build the systems and processes, right? Where someone is in their journey in your business. And is it marketing? Is it sales? Is it retention, right? We start putting that all together to create the patient experience that we want to create. I think one important thing we need to take away from this introduction is, right, the patient life cycle is specific steps. Now, that flow of the business, marketing, sales, retention, referral, those are not hard start and stops. There's a lot of overlap in your business, right? There's time when selling is overlapping with retention, right? There's times marketing and sales are overlapping because you may have someone moving through their journey within your business, right? They've showed up, they're a paying customer, and you may be sending them emails or having communication with them on other services you have, right? So there's a little bit of marketing overlapping with sales, with retention, all at the same time. So that was really powerful because I was always looking at, okay, where am I selling? Where am I marketing? Where am I retaining people? And once I understood it overflowed, then I got a way better understanding for how to leverage all these skills, right? Selling skills. I also got a better understanding of how to measure success of selling in this patient's journey, of retention in this patient's journey, right? So the flow of the business overlying your patient or client journey's life cycle within your practice business or practice or business, and then the experience you want to create, right? So that's the overlay I want to just throw out there really quick. Now, the next thing I want you thinking about then is sales, right? And what happens over time as I started to look at all these together and the metrics we need to change and the things we need to do to create bigger and better patient success within my practice, within your practice, was I saw that sales overlapped basically every step of my client's journey. So that was realization number one. Realization number two was then, okay, where does this sales cycle start and the next one end? Or actually, I'll be honest, when I look back at the first one, right, you all know front desk, right? Pre-arrival, right? Pre-arrival phase, right? We all know that's sales. And so I was like, okay, when's that end? Right? When do we move into retention? And I was like, well, it ends when they arrive. And I was like, but that's not where retention starts. Right? I'm like, now the provider has to sell. And then I'm like, okay, it starts after they come back for visit number 2. And I was like, well, yeah, it does. Retention does start there. But I was like, but we got to sell again. Right? So really, and mind you, my bias, yeah, I'm a sales guy, but the selling is going on here. And these skills and the art and the science of selling have to be present during all these phases for you to have patient success so that your business will be successful. So let's just talk about these selling phases, right? Pre-arrival, selling phase number 1. From initial contact, they call you, they walk in the door, they send you a web form, whatever it is the start of sales cycle number 1. And the objective of sales cycle, or the goal of sales cycle number 1 is to get people to arrive and pay. Okay. And the way we do that is we start to build relationships during that sales cycle. We're problem solvers and we set our providers up for success. That's how we get people to arrive and pay for sales, right? Through sales cycle number 1. Sales cycle number 2 is evaluation. That's when we want people to move to, right? Our goal is to get people to stay. And really, if we back it up one, what we're getting on arrival day, on eval, is we're getting agreement on plans of care. And that's right. We're getting an agreement on the future together. And we're getting that buy-in. Right. So that's the goal of sales cycle number 2, which is the evaluation, which is only going to last half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, whereas phase number 1 could last days and weeks. Right. So you guys see where the leverage is. So all the work in phase 1, right, is to pump up and get people to arrive and pay ... so they'll stay, because we want to make that provider's job simpler. Just deliver on expectations that were managed and set, continue to decrease uncertainty, continue to build trust, right? That was started during phase 1. And then lastly, the third sales phase, right, is a course of care. And the goal of that is a completed plan of care. So again, or stay, right? So completed plan of care, agreed upon plan of care are both part of stay. So when I say arrive, pay, and stay, I'm really thinking of those 3 phases and the role of each team member in those phases. Because by the way, you may have different team members, front desk team, PT, and then PT assistants or other people seeing the patients. So this coordination of team is really, really important when it comes to understanding these sales cycles. Everybody has to understand where they are in these phases, in this journey with this patient, so they know what objectives to deliver on so they can reach the goals of that phase. Okay, so that's the overarching principle, and we're going to go deeper into all that. Right. And just knowing that there's selling going on everywhere here. And when I do secret callers, when I come into clinics, when I do secret shoppers, when I hang out with PTs, there is something always missing at these phases. It's the disconnect of these phases that's going to kill you. And by disconnect, I mean information that's gathered and shared. Right. So the science, let's get right into this. The science of selling is templates, processes, questions to be asked, and the information collected. That's all the science of selling, right? Because we never know what to do with all this stuff. And it's simple. I can give you a list of stuff to collect, and it's part of the selling process, right? I can build the systems out. I can build a CRM, right? Software to put all this stuff in. That's the science of selling. In order to be successful in selling, not only do we have to be able to talk and listen, the art, I'll dive deeper into that, but we got to know what we're collecting it and where to put it and where to pass it on. So the 2 biggest mistakes, let me just jump right ahead, I see in people's businesses are A, they're not comprehending the art, and B, usually they are not sharing the data. They are not sharing the science. They don't have a process together to share the information that is gathered. Okay, so again, the science is the data to be collected, goals, expectations, phone numbers, birth dates, insurance information. How are we going to get paid, right? Cash, credit card, whatever it is, right? That's the science. Where do you put it in the software? That's the science, right? That's all the science. The template. Okay, how do we get this information? The template. Here's the 5 things you need to collect. That's the science. Now, the art is the conversation. How do I get it? Another huge piece of the art, and the piece most missing when I work with clinics, is listening. So the art of selling is listening. It's conversation. It's really interesting. As you guys know, I do a lot of secret callers and I listen to a lot of recorded phone calls. There's nothing more I love doing than listening to recorded phone calls, because I get to be, right? I get to be an outsider listening to both sides, right? And it's interesting because people are really good at the science part of this, right? They know what needs to be collected and they collect it. Do they know how to ask the right questions? Not always. Do they know how to ask better questions? Not always. But the question itself is the science. And I'm going to give you some examples of that, right? Because I have people that are really good at following the process and following the template and following the structure. But damn, when I listen to those calls, I'm like, damn, it sounds like if I could see them right now, they're reading it off a piece of paper. It sounds like they're going down a list. And to me, that's like that not listening part. Okay. So again, yes, there's overlap on this stuff because questions are part of the science. It's how you ask it, it's how you acknowledge, it's how you use the information that was given you when you ask that question. That's the art. I tell people, is it like I'm sitting across from a friend and going, damn, and I wouldn't say damn, sorry, over the phone, but I would say, I'd say, wow, Jerry, so what I heard you say is this. And so this is the solution I have for you. But what I hear people doing is just moving on. So here, let's get you scheduled and stuff like that. That's the art of it all. So let me back up, right? The art is listening and the conversation. The science is the templates, the structure, the processes, the software, the questions. Again, the script. Script is science. This is in a successful script. It's successful because the best people know how to use it properly, AKA apply it with the art of the conversation. Again, I've got someone currently I'm working with. They're really good at the process. They're one of the better people. They got it really quickly. And I was just listening to a call literally this week. And I'm like, damn, they're checking all the boxes. This is awesome. And I'm like, but fuck, that conversation's missing. Because they're getting the answers and they're like jumping in. And I'm like, you're not even acknowledging, right? And then it's how do we use that information? When someone tells you the problem to be solved and their expectations, right? That's what we're leveraging here. So how do we have a conversation around that and not just move on to scheduling them and telling them when to arrive and how many pieces of paperwork, which is all the science. So 2 parts here. Handing someone a script is not a successful selling process. A successful selling process in any industry involves both the art and the science. So I call this the art of science and selling in healthcare because we're going to apply it to healthcare, client, customer, patient, but it could be the art and science of selling, right? And there are huge companies out there with millions of dollars invested into the science side and the infrastructure and the training and the questions and the data to be collected and put here. And here's how many phone calls you make. But man, the best salespeople know what the fuck to do with that information and know how to listen and know how to use it in a conversation to say, I hear what you're saying. And I understand our solution is the best for you or not. Right. And that's that art and science coming together. So think about a new patient call. Think about an evaluation, a PT moving someone through an evaluation. Think about a PT moving someone at the beginning of a visit, through a visit, to the end of the visit, and then through a course of care. Always lots of science in there. No pun intended, right? Because we do. But it's that conversation that's going to be the game changer that gets not only the arrive and pay, but gets the stay. And what we've got to do to be consistently successful in our healthcare practices is, yes, understand the science. Where did I start? All the science stuff, the flow of a business, the patient life cycle, the patient experience. But we got to be able to grasp and embrace and excel at the art side of selling on the first phone call, during the evaluation, and at the minimum at the beginning and end of every visit, right? And that is the art and science of selling in healthcare, the higher level. Okay. That's the premise. That's the context of where we're going to go in all this. Right. Now, next episode, which we're going to talk about where does it fit during all this. And I'm going to go a little deeper into that and tell you how it fits into each of those phases. And we'll just keep building on all this. But really, this is the foundation you need going forward here to be successful. All right. Cheers, all.